Shalom וברוכים הבאים. My name is Rabbi Yitzchak Shapira, and I am the host of the program Cheezok, Emunah, or the strengthening of our faith in the God of Israel and in His Mashiach, Yeshua of Nazareth. And every week we're looking at a different question and a different objection that come to our way. Today we're going to have in the studio with us Binyamin Berten. Hi, Binyamin. Binyamin, we're going to touch today on something very sensitive. Something that I hear a lot. I would like to bring the objection and just dive straight into it, okay? Here is the objection to Yeshua that we hear and we receive a lot. Let's look at it. And it says, under what authority Yeshua changed the Torah? The Torah clearly states that it is eternal, yet Yeshua changed it. Well, we need to first of all get a few conceptions or misconceptions on the table, whether or not Yeshua changed the Torah to begin with. So let us start with what Yeshua actually said about the Torah.
Yeshua is very clear in Matthew chapter 17 through 19, Matthew chapter 5, 17 through 19, that says, I tell you the truth, do not think that I've come to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I tell you that until heaven and earth pass away, not one yud or tittle will ever pass from the Torah until heaven and earth pass away.
And heaven and earth obviously still around. Obviously he was talking to Jewish people.
Right.
But the point here, that when he used the word fulfill, he said lemalot.
Yeah.
To give further validity, to give further authority. So he really spoke about giving a greater kavanah, intention to the Torah. It's interesting that Yeshua himself, in his writing, he sound exactly, it's in direct parallel to what our sages tell us. You know, in the Tanya, it's one of the mystical books, we read this. During the time of Mashiach, the inner meaning of the Torah will be known to every man in Israel without forgetfulness. As a matter of fact, the rabbis continue on to say that the Torah we study today is called Hevel.
Right.
Hevel, why is it called Hevel? What is Hevel?
It means it just blows away. It's like vanity.
It's vanity. It's something that is forgotten. Why is it being forgotten?
Well, that passage in the Midrash Rabbah is incredible, that he who hears the word from the Torah from the mouth of Messiah will never forget it.
So actually, one of the roles and responsibilities of the Messiah, first of all, we need to make a separation, because today perhaps Christian says, you know, the Torah is not applicable and not valid.
Right.
Jesus has done away with all of this. But really, in reality, Jesus never said that.
No, and every single passage that they base that on can be easily shown through a Jewish perspective that that's not the case. One of the greatest rabbis of recent, somewhat relatively recent times was named Rabbi Yaakov Emden. He says Yeshua never did anything against the Torah.
He'd never done anything, absolutely anything against the Torah whatsoever. So let us look. One of the name of the Mashiach in Jewish literature is the name of the Peretz. And I would like to look for a second, what is the meaning of the Peretz? So we can kind of put a portrait of the Messiah. The question we need to answer is, does the Messiah, when Yeshua said, I came to expand even, or to fulfill, or give you, did he have the authority to expand the Torah of Moses? Did he, or didn't he? Well, I think to answer this, we should start with a passage. Let's put it out on the screen. It's in Genesis, the 38th chapter, verse 29. Let us read there.
It says, and it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out, and she said, why have you made a breach for yourself? Therefore his name was called Peretz.
The word Peretz literally mean one who expanded, one who is being erupted. He's talking about an eruption. And the question is, who is this child, and why did the rabbis call him the Mashiach? It's funny, we read a very interesting commentary on this, and it says this: the sons of Jacob were busy selling Joseph.
Right.
Joseph was busy in mourning, Reuben was busy in mourning, and Jacob was busy in mourning, and Judah was beginning taking a wife, while the Holy One of Israel, blessed be his name, was busy in bringing the Redeemer to the world. What is so special in your understanding about the name Peretz as referring to the Messiah?
Well, if we look into the book of Ruth, it gives us the genealogy of Peretz, and there's something amazing there.
Interesting, amazingly, because in the book, in the Ruth, in the fourth chapter, in verse 18, it's actually starting with Peretz.
Right.
And he starts with the word Ve'ele toldot. Here are the account and the generation of who? Of Peretz. And then he said Peretz begotten Chetzron, Chetzron begotten Ram, Ram begotten etc. And then they get into Ishai, and Ishai birthed David. Why does it start with the word here, the account of Peretz? What is that? What's Ruth trying to tell us here?
This is amazing because this is something you will not see in the English. You will only see it in the Hebrew. Is that the word toldot is spelled in a very unusual way.
Interesting.
There are 2-letter vavs in this particular word that you see nowhere else in the Torah except for one place. That's in Genesis chapter 2.
Verse 4.
Verse 4.
And it starts with the word Ve'ele toldot.
Ve'ele toldot. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth. It's a very strange passage, this one verse. Genesis 2:4, maybe the amazing, most incredible passage of Genesis, maybe, because it tells us something amazing, that when God created the heavens, that they were perfect.
Interesting. Listen to this. This is straight from the sages. He said the same word as you said. Now these are the generation or toldot of Peretz, that refer to speak of the Messiah who will bring the complete restoration from the first sin of Adam. Okay? There is nobody who deserves the terms toldot except to the Messiah, who is Peretz. So it's called Peretz here, not just to be a breaker, to break through, but to bring a final redemption to the world.
Right. Based on this one letter of the rabbis discerned that Adam lost 6 things when he sinned: his glory, his luster, the fruit of the tree of life. But Messiah comes back to restore all these things.
Well, the rabbis make an amazing connection between the name Peretz, the one who will break, to another amazing messianic prophecy that we find in the book of Isaiah. Matter of fact, to draw the connection, I would like to read you something about this. He said, here, speaking about the Peretz, the Messiah will come to the world, okay? We are expecting a special child. And here's what we know about this child. It says, specifically, Rabbi Ginsburg said, for a child is born unto us, a son is given unto us, and the government shall be on his shoulder. Let us look specifically in this, and his names of this child, his name will be Peretz, but his name will be also Pele, Yoetz, El, Gibor, Avi, Ad, Sar Shalom.
Right.
Well, it's amazing because most of Judaism today tell us those verses do not speak about the Messiah, but this connection to this child who is the breaker has been made.
That's right. And if we look at this particular passage, Isaiah 9:6, most people would say most anti-missionaries would say this refers to Hezekiah. But if you really start looking at it, you see that the Rambam says this means Mashiach. You look at Rabbi Yossi Galilee says this is Mashiach.
That's in the Midrash.
That's in the Midrash.
We know that the Gaon of Vilna, by the way, says the same thing. Let us not to take it out of the context. He is talking about the Messiah of Israel.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if Isaac, Jacob, Samson, and the prophet Shmuel all had miraculous births, how more miraculous should the King Messiahs be?
So, but his names will be Pele Yoetz,
right?
El Gibor. Those are names that referred to the mighty one of Israel. Now, it's also interesting because in the verse before, it's related to the fact that there is a very interesting Hebrew word, the word lamarbe, and it's speaking about it's kind of an esoteric word.
Increase.
And the increase, and the word there is the mem. The letter mem is closed. The Hebrew letter mem, which is in a square shape.
It's violating normal laws of Hebrew of the Hebrew text.
Language.
You have a closed mem, which usually happens at the end of the word, happening in the middle, which you rarely ever see.
And what is the upshot? Why was it put there? What is the mystery?
The amazing thing, the numerical value of the letter Mem is 40, which means it's the womb.
Rechem.
Rechem is the womb.
And Mem is also for Mashiach.
Mem is Mashiach and
Malchut, the kingdom.
Absolutely. And some of the commentaries of one in particular on the Bahir, it says that the number 40 refers to the 40 weeks in the womb.
Interesting. So this is, I make a connection to the Messiah who will be the poets. It's interesting also that the letter Mem is come from the two Daleds. If you take two Daleds and combine. Speaking about the Messiah will open the gates of heaven. And heaven.
So this really links to the miraculous birth of the Messiah. You see that Isaac was born of a closed womb, but you see Messiah being born of a closed womb here in Isaiah 9, not because of barrenness, but because of virginity.
Okay, so let us very quickly, because this identity of the Peretz, the poets, is clearly identified in the Messiah. I know we don't have time to it today, but if we can look at Nehemiah, it shows it's related to the second coming, the first and the second coming, and maybe sometimes we can talk about this. But let us look real quick at Nehemiah, in Micah, the second chapter, because it says there's something very interesting in Micah, the second chapter. It says the breaker is talking again about the Mashiach. The breaker is gone up before them, that they have broken forth and passed on by the gate and are gone out there, and their king is passed on before them, and the Lord at the head of them.
Wow.
What an interesting passage this is. Let's think about it. It says that the poets, who we already identified as being the Messiah, go in front of them and they parzu. And who will be the one that will be going before them? It's the poets. There is a possessive term, Malkam, their king. And who is in the head? It is Yudevavel.
It's Hashem.
It is Hashem. What is the implication for us about the poets?
That the one named Peretz, one of his names, is Hashem.
It's Hashem. And therefore we have the authority to expand the definition of Torah.
It's incredible.
So in essence, when Yeshua himself stood up and said, I have the authority, the Son of Man, he is the Lord of the Shabbat. What did he mean by this? He meant that he have the authority to teach us what is lawful and what is unlawful to do in the Shabbat. Which
is in perfect agreement with Chazal that say when Messiah comes, it actually says when Eliyahu comes that he brings Mashiach, but they clear up all discrepancies in Halacha. So that Messiah is the one who has the authority to define Halacha.
You have the define to halacha. What an amazing. It's hard to imagine that a human being will have such an authority even to expand the definition of Torah and how to observe a proper Torah. If you want to read about the Torah of Mashiach, write us. We will be excited and glad to send you a copy of the Brit HaChadasha. You can read straight from the Hebrew language what Yeshua actually said. If you are Jewish and you watch this program today, I encourage you not to refute it unless you read it. The word of the Master of the world, who in direct parallel to the word of the Torah of Moses. Binyamin, I thank you so much for you been joining us today. May the God of Israel bless you and protect you. Write us, as we would love to hear from you and encourage you in your walk with the Mighty One of Israel. Shalom and brachot. Litraot.